Hello everybody, Ted Davis here with another album ranking video for you. This one is going to be on the discography of British hard rock, proto-progressive metal supergroup Captain Beyond. Sorry, as I fix my hair here. These guys were a supergroup that was made up of former Deep Purple lead singer Rod Evans. He sang on the first three Deep Purple albums. Former Iron Butterfly guitarist Larry Rhino Reinhardt, former Iron Butterfly bassist Lee Dorman, and former Johnny Winter and band drummer Bobby Caldwell. They only released 3 albums. Rod Evans sang on 2 of them. One within a span of 2 years. Broke up and then came back together with a different singer and released a 3rd album. I must say, before I rank all 3 of them, that I love them all quite a bit, and putting this list together was really hard. I unfortunately don't have the physical albums to show you, but I've heard them all, know them really well. They're still together in some form or another, with Bobby Caldwell and some guys you've never heard of before. They released an EP that's pretty good. Although, I don't really know how I feel about calling it Captain Beyond. But, Bobby Caldwell is still carrying the name, and, he's a great drummer. And great songwriter, too. He wrote or co-wrote most of the songs in the catalog. So, I'm not going to include that EP, by the way. But it is still worth mentioning. It's still pretty good. But I don't know. Give it a different name. It'd probably be a little bit better. But anyway. So coming in at number 3 is their 3rd album from 1977 called Dawn Explosion. So here we basically have the original lineup minus Rod Evans on vocals. Instead, we have a guy named Willie Daffern on lead vocals. A great singer. I couldn't tell you anything else he did, but a great singer. And some great songs on here. Do or Die, Sweet Dreams, Icarus, Fantasy, If You Please. Great vocal by Willie Daffern on that. Breaths of Fire 1 and 2, parts 1 and 2, Midnight Memories and Oblivion. Some really, really cool space rock type stuff on here. Pretty straightforward hard rock on here. Some proggy moments, too, that kind of harken back to the albums of earlier years. But overall, just a really, really strong album to go out on. It's a shame it didn't do that well on the charts in 1977 when it was released. But Willie Daffern, great singer. I would have loved to hear another studio album that the band did with him, but despite the fact that it comes out in number 3, that it's my least favorite, I still love it, so I'd recommend. It's probably the most accessible out of all the 3 albums. I probably wouldn't recommend that you start this one if you're looking to get into this band, but still a solid album. Coming in at number 2 is the self-titled Captain Beyond album from 1972, that classic album cover. This one has Rod Evans, sort of fresh out of Deep Purple. He kind of went into hiding for a bit before he kind of resurfaced here. This is a classic. Released on Capricorn Records, and that was something I always thought was kind of weird, because Capricorn Records was known for having a lot of southern rock bands on their roster, like Marshall Tucker Band and the Allman Brothers Band and others like that. And here they have like a progressive rock band. I don't know. Still kind of funny, but pretty cool at the same time there. This is probably one of the most influential debut albums in rock history. If it weren't for this album, I don't think we'd really have progressive metal. This is a blueprint for progressive metal. I mean, all sorts of classics on here from top to bottom. Dancing Madly Backwards on a Sea of Air, that little suite. Raging River of Fear, the Thousand Days of Yesterday's suite. I Can't Feel Nothing suite. A lot of cool like little mini epics on here of shorter songs that kind of tied together one piece of different movements, if you will. That's what I really like about this album. I don't think there were a lot of albums that were really doing this kind of thing if, they weren't Yes or Genesis at the time. Rod Evans here sounding really, really great on the vocals, and some great, great drumming by Bobby Caldwell, and really, really cool guitar riffs coming from Mr. Reinhardt. Mr. Reinhardt is actually screaming on here, his guitar tone in some songs. But Rod Evans on this album becomes the hard rock vocalist that Ritchie Blackmore and John Lord wanted when they got Ian Gillan and when they kicked him out of Deep Purple. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if Rod Evans continued on and Nick Simper continued on with Deep Purple if Blackmore had not kicked him out and Ian Gillan coming from the Episode 6 band. But my favorite song on this album is probably part of the Thousand Days of Yesterday Suite, a song called Frozen Over. That's one of my favorite Rod Evans vocals ever. Mama don't mind what you say, all about 1,000 days of yesterday. Just a really, really great. My favorite Bobby Caldwell drumming moment on here is probably Dancing Madly Backwards on a Sea of Air, with an honorable mention to Raging River of Fear. Raging River of Fear is one of my favorite Captain Beyond songs. But overall, masterpiece of an album, but for me, it's at number 2. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack from people for it being my number 2. And if it's your number 1, I would not disagree with you for making that choice. But for me, my number 1 choice is Sufficiently Breathless from 1973, their second album. More accessible than the debut album, for sure. This would probably be a pretty good place to start. A lot of Santana type rhythms on here. A lot of Santana type feels on here. On here we have Marty Rodriguez taking over the drums from Mr. Caldwell, and Reese Winans, who would later surface in Stevie Ray Vaughan's band, and now is with Joe Bonamassa, playing keyboards, and then Guil Garcia on congas, timbales, and various percussion instruments. And that's kind of, and Mr. Garcia is kind of what gives this album a Santana type feel. But really, top to bottom, everything on here is great. Sufficiently Breathless, the title track, amazing folk rock song. Some great vocals by Rod Evans there. Bright Blue Tango is awesome. Drifting in Space, great hard rocker. Evil Men, another great hard rocker. Starglow Energy, a beautiful ballad with a great guitar solo by Larry Rhino Reinhardt. Distant Sun, some great drumming by Marty Rodriguez in here. And the Voyages of Past Travelers and Everything's a Circle suite. Everything's a Circle is a really kind of a Santana type tune. So overall, Sufficiently Breathless is a great album. Phil Walden also produced it too. If you're new to this band, I would say start with Sufficiently Breathless. But you know what? Get all 3 of them. You're missing out if you've never heard of this band. If you like what Deep Purple did in with the Ian Gillan, or if you like what Deep Purple did with Ian Gillan in the mid '70s, you'll love Captain Beyond, and you also love Warhorse, which is the band that Nick Simper formed after he was kicked out of Deep Purple around the same time as Rod Evans. So that is my ranking of the Captain Beyond discography. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you guys with more videos in the future. Bye-bye.